If you'd like to start a farm from scratch on an empty map but are missing the right modifications or a suitable map, you've come to the right place. Today, I've prepared a complete set of hand tools for the start: scythe, shovel, wheelbarrow, and other essential items, as well as 2 maps that perfectly capture the atmosphere of a farmer in the wilderness. One is available for everyone, while the other is exclusive to PC players. The option for everyone is the New Frontier map, which you can of course find on ModHub. After downloading it, you'll have access to 3 variations. The first, simply named New Frontier, is a map divided into 21 farmlands. You'll find a lot of open space without any trees, making it a great choice for those who aren't fans of forestry. However, the downside is the farmland sizes. Most are over 26 hectares. Interestingly, each has a different price, and despite having the same area, one might cost less than 200,000 while another nearly 500,000, which in my opinion isn't very well balanced. Luckily, the map creator addressed this by offering a second version, New Frontier 69 Farmlands. As the name suggests, this version is divided into 69 plots, but unfortunately it's not a perfect solution. Despite having 4 times smaller farmland sizes, some still cost nearly 200,000, just as much as certain plots in the standard version. There are cheaper ones at around 80,000, but I still think that's quite a high price. For those who prefer more trees, there's also a third version of this map, New Frontier Forestry. As the name implies, this one features a lot more forests. If you want to create larger fields, you'll need to cut down at least a few trees, as there's very little open space without them. For PC players, I have another recommendation, the Lone Hills map. As the name suggests, it's quite hilly, which in my opinion adds to the atmosphere. The map includes several interesting locations, such as an abandoned mine and something that can best be described as swamplands, a region where fields and forests are partially flooded. This map comes in just one version, but there's something for everyone. There's an area with only a few widely spaced trees, making it perfect for large fields. On the other hand, another section of the map features a dense forest covering about 20% of the total area, ensuring that loggers will have plenty of work. As for farmlands, there are 32 in total, and the prices are well balanced. Plots with the same area cost exactly the same. Each farmland is around 13 hectares except for one, which is only 7 hectares because it contains a selling point. Now that we have a place to play, it's time to equip ourselves with the essential tools for work. There are 2 main options to start with: chopping wood or mowing grass. Let's start with the more popular choice, grass mowing. Most players begin their journey with a scythe, which interestingly I have already showcased in a previous episode. Since it fits perfectly into this video, it's impossible to ignore. The only drawback of this tool, which I also mentioned before, is that the character runs while using it instead of walking, and unfortunately nothing has changed in that regard to this day. It's possible that this can be fixed, but it's just a minor visual detail. From a technical perspective, the scythe has a working width of half a meter, and the character can theoretically mow grass at a speed of 6, though in practice it's closer to 5. This is enough speed to gather some grass and eventually buy or rent slightly larger equipment. Speaking of renting, if you lack the willpower but still want to prove your skills by growing a farm from scratch without using leasing, there's a perfect mod for you on ModHub, Disable Leasing. As the name suggests, this mod completely removes the ability to lease machines. The leasing button simply doesn't exist. It's a great solution for true hardcore players. Back to mowing, if you've earned some money with the scythe or simply prefer starting with slightly better equipment, I have another suggestion, the Amazon self-propelled mower, which in reality is probably used for mowing gardens. As for its basic parameters, it has a working width of 1.2 meters and operates at 12 kilometers per hour. However, what makes it stand out the most is its 1,200 liter grass collection tank. This means you don't have to pick up the grass manually. Of course, if you really want to, you can drive straight to a selling point with it, though I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. Its maximum speed is the same as its working speed. Well, unless you have a selling point right next to you or place one on your own farmland. Speaking of placing selling points, since we're talking about mods for starting from scratch, we can't forget about a private selling point that allows you to sell grass right from the beginning, without having to run across the map with a shovel. The Sell Everything mod, available on ModHub and compatible with all platforms, solves this issue. It offers 3 variants that differ only in appearance. The first one has additional decorations, while the other 2 vary in size. And to answer any potential questions, yes, you can also sell logs there without any issues. Back to tools. If you decide to use a scythe, you'll need something to collect the grass. I have 2 interesting options for you which aren't too different from each other, but still provide a choice. Though unfortunately, currently only for PC players. The first option is a shovel, available on ModHub. It has a very straightforward name and is available for all platforms. In terms of appearance, you can paint both the handle and the metal part in any color you like. Speaking of the metal part, you can also configure its capacity, choosing between 200 or 800 liters. It seems to be able to collect anything that can be dumped onto the ground. As for its working speed, there are no limits here. You can collect grass as fast as you can handle the tool, though if you run too fast, it's easy to drop it. The second option for collecting grass is more realistic, since in real life, people use pitchforks rather than shovels. While this tool isn't exactly a pitchfork, it resembles one more than the previous option. In terms of appearance, you can only change the color of the tines, while the handle has a fixed texture, which, in my opinion, looks better than the uniform color customization available for the shovel. Unfortunately, you can't adjust its capacity. It's fixed at 200 liters. Other than that, there's practically no difference from the shovel, so the choice mostly comes down to appearance and player preference. If 200 liters isn't enough for you and you'd rather transport larger amounts to the selling point, or simply don't want to risk dropping your tool along the way, I have two interesting solutions for you. The first option is a handcart boasting an impressive 300 liter capacity. It functions like a vehicle, meaning you have to enter it, so there's no risk of losing it. It only costs 200, making it an affordable investment. While you can't increase its capacity, you can customize its colors. As for transporting materials, you can load almost anything onto it, just like a regular trailer. The second option is a wheelbarrow, which interestingly has an even smaller capacity than the handcart, 258 liters. It also supports a wide range of materials. However, when it comes to customization, there are no options at all. The wheelbarrow does have one advantage over the handcart: its price, as it only costs 80. However, I think the smaller capacity will deter most players, as it could become a hassle in practice. And if someone wants to go all in on manually collecting grass, I have one more bonus tool: a bucket with a 100 liter capacity. Collecting grass with a bucket is just as realistic as using a shovel. The advantage is that you can fit 3 full buckets into a handcart, while a shovel only fits 1.5. Whether that's an advantage or a disadvantage depends on the player. Some may prefer the long, immersive grind, while others may want to get rich quickly. Speaking of getting rich quickly, you've probably heard that forestry is one of the best ways to make money in Farming Simulator. In theory, selling grass seems like a worse option than selling wood. However, the issue with wood is that small pieces sell for much less than 6-meter logs, which unfortunately can't be carried by hand. I've already covered the profitability of forestry in more detail in another video, so there's no need to repeat myself. If you want to start from scratch as a lumberjack, it makes more sense to begin with an axe rather than a chainsaw. The axe is less efficient, but it's also significantly cheaper, only 50. The axe looks nice, but unfortunately, the animation is the same as the chainsaw. I assume creating a realistic swinging animation would be difficult or even impossible, so the creator didn't overcomplicate things and just used the default one. Of course, running back and forth to the selling point with small pieces of wood can be exhausting, unless you place the selling point close by. But if that's not an option, the handcart is the perfect solution. You can load quite a few small pieces of wood onto it and transport them to the selling point with ease. Sure, at a speed of 7 kilometers per hour, but it's still better than running with one piece at a time. As for the handcart's customization, both the frame and floor can be painted in any color. You can also choose the color of the wheel handles, though there are only 2 options, which I still think is enough. And once you've expanded your farm, you'll definitely need tractors. Right now, a video with some exciting tractor recommendations is on your screen. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. See you soon.